Number 5. Barnes & Noble. Are bookshops going extinct? Thanks to the boom in online book sales, not to mention the rise of electronic reading devices, many would argue this to be the case. And it would appear as though even the big boys are in trouble. Barnes & Noble is the largest retail bookseller in America, with an estimated $1 billion. But sales figures from recent years are worryingly low, suggesting that the chain may not have a long future ahead of it. In the last quarter of 2016, the book behemoth reported a disappointing loss of $14.4 million, as well as revealing that total sales had dropped by 6.6%. Barnes & Noble have responded to its failing business with an if you can't beat 'em, join 'em attitude. In 2010, they launched their own e-reader, the Nook. But even this doesn't seem to have offered the company the salvation they were after. In 2016, sales for the Nook declined 29% within just 3 months, as it was unable to compete with devices like the Amazon Kindle. Number 4. BlackBerry. With the battle between iPhone and Android raging on, it's sometimes easy to forget that there are other competitors vying for your attention. Cast your memory back to the early noughties. BlackBerry was one of the pioneers of the smartphone age. From the business savvy to texting teens, their devices were popular with everyone. But then came the age of iOS and Android, and BlackBerry began to fade into obscurity. With Google and Apple's combined app stores containing a combined 5 million apps, there was simply no way BlackBerry could compete. 4 years ago, BlackBerry boasted a company worth over $5 billion, but now estimates put it at barely more than $2.6 billion. That's a hugely rapid decline in value, which is mostly due to extremely poor sales. The second quarter of 2012, for example, saw a whiplash-inducing 43% drop in sales figures. In fact, in 2016, BlackBerry admitted defeat and exited the smartphone manufacturing business altogether. The company has moved away from hardware production to focus instead on software development and security products. Only time will tell if this will be enough to resuscitate the failing company. Number 3. SunEdison. Climate change is arguably the greatest threat that the planet Earth is facing. Between 2030 and 2050, it is expected to cause approximately 250,000 additional deaths a year by increasing the effects of malnutrition, heat stress, and deadly diseases like malaria. So it is therefore pretty damn worrying that the world's biggest green energy company could be on the verge of total collapse. In April 2016, SunEdison, a leader in the renewable energy market, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Within the year prior to this, shares in SunEdison have fallen 95% to less than $1. In July 2015, it was worth approximately $10 billion. Today, its estimated value stands at just $400 million. Experts from renewable energy research firm GTM Research argued that SunEdison's fall from grace was not a reflection of the industry in general, but rather of SunEdison trying to do too much, too fast. From 2014 onward, they adopted a strategy of aggressive expansion in solar and wind power, began developing their own novel technology solutions, and also invested in other energy companies like the UK-based Mark Group. Under all this pressure, SunEdison simply crumbled. Number 2. Spotify. With close to 100 million total users, 50% of which are paying subscribers, Spotify is definitely big business. It's home to 30 million songs, 2 billion playlists, and over 80% of its users tune in multiple times a week. There's just one problem: it's not making any money, nor has it ever done so. In 2014, the company brought in $1.3 billion. Yet the same year, it ended on a loss of $197 million. The problem for Spotify is the high cost of operation. Since it was launched in 2008, the company has paid out $5 billion to labels and publishers for music rights. As Spotify brings in more customers, it has to splash out more on rights to distribute to the increased number of people. Then it needs to attract even more customers in order to pay for this. It's like a vicious cycle. Arguably, the only way the platform could continue beyond the next few years is if it's bought out, and only big fish like Google, Microsoft or Facebook would be equipped to do that. But with Spotify's reputation as a ticking time bomb, it's starting to look less and less likely that this will happen. Number 1. Amazon. No one seems to have told Amazon that the generally accepted point of business is to make money. Since 1994, Amazon has rarely ever made a profit, despite selling an estimated 2 billion products a year. But unusually, this is entirely deliberate. Amazon pursues a policy of what's called a free cash flow system. In a nutshell, Amazon uses all the money it makes from sales to pay their expenses. Customers buy something on Amazon, Amazon uses the money to pay their suppliers and repeat. Or at least that's how it should work in theory. The company is making worrying losses as its Amazon Prime service, designed to attract customers through unbeatably speedy delivery times for free, is costing $2 billion more than it brings in. In 2000, Amazon made its biggest loss ever, a whopping $1.4 billion. As a result, CEO Jeff Bezos fired 15% of his workforce to cut down on expenses. Amazon finally scraped a bit of profit together in 2015, making $92 million. But that's still $590 million less than competitor eBay. And with 250 million customers a year putting pressure on Amazon's system, is that really going to be enough? So that was $10 billion companies that are secretly going bankrupt. How many of these surprised you? Do you think any of these big companies will go under in the next few years? If you enjoyed this video, why not check out this one playing on screen now? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Number 10. Nestle. Most of the products that you buy are owned by a surprisingly small number of monopolistic companies.